Here goes nothing. So, it's been a very long time since I have made any video. I did make several videos, like a lot of videos actually, maybe a dozen videos, maybe an hour long each, I don't know, who knows, which were highly edited. But unfortunately, I have a confession to make. So I've been off YouTube for a very, very long time. What I thought was just going to be half a year to maybe maximum a year, turned out to be more like 2 years, and dare I say it, maybe 2 years and a bit. So I did not give up on this YouTube channel. I simply gave up on I was taking a break. That's what I was trying to do. So one of the reasons why I took a break is because around September, so 2 years ago, end of 2021 maybe, or beginning of 2022, I kind of just vanished, and initially nothing happened to me, but what happened was somebody's grandmother passed away, and I end up going a bit crazy because I was mourning my grandmother's death, that I was not invited to my grandparents, either of my French grandparents' funerals. I was only given the information after the funeral had happened, and moth. Anyway, so I couldn't. I became obsessed and hyperfixated on death. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say that. It's not even 5 minutes in. Apparently, you can swear after the first 5 minutes, but I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about saying big words, big scary words. So hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble for having said that word. But it was quite a tough time, so I went to someone else's grandmother's funeral, and I mourned the funeral of sorry, I keep looking around because there's this moth flying about. I just became hyperfixed with, like, really obsessed, transfixed about the idea of like death. It doesn't make much sense. I was grieving essentially for funerals, not funerals, but people who had helped me build a sense of identity that I didn't have. So this is a really hard subject to talk about, but that's one of the reasons why I just quit. And I don't like that I quit, or I took a break because of that, because not only was I having nightmares non-stop all the time, I looked at my videos as well, the older videos, and I realized, wow, every single time I'm about to make a point, I then change the subject every single time, like some MK Ultra brainwashed, mind-controlled person. And some of you good people or new age people will say, well, just stop using those words then. You need to be positive all the time, and the words you're using means like you're creating your own reality by the words you're using. But it's easier said than done. If you have PTSD, you can't just manifest whatever reality you want. And even if you can, you've got to undo so much damage. Growing up in an abusive household is like especially psychological and religious abuse, it's like growing up in a cult. And I grew up in a cult as well. That's a whole other story I keep saying I'm going to talk about, but I never do. But I had to grow up with the whole I'm doing this for your own good, and children should be seen and not heard. And all my behaviours were simply a result of undiagnosed neurological differences, not an attitude problem. I did not have an attitude problem. And then the other realization is people misinterpret my body language, my hand movements, my eye movements as being like, oh, is she communicating to me in Morse code because she's blinking? No, I'm blinking because my eyes have a weird twitch or something, or my eyes are super dry, or I have crap in my eye. So there is no secret code. I'm not like this is like an episode of Seinfeld, Google it, where George Costanza has a weird eye twitch and people misinterpret him as winking all the time, and I'm not. I've had a few trolls, and not just trolls, I think there's like some people as well who not the trolls, but I mean just people who don't know any better. They see my channel and they think, I've had people say, not so much on my channel directly, but in the past, I've had people say I'm arrogant, self-centered, I talk monotone, I have no emotions because I talk monotone. Other times my tone of intonation is too hyper, too expressive, and my hand movements are too meh. So I'm just a bit too much, really, for people. And it's really annoying. So I kind of became extremely obsessed about trying to perfect this persona, which that persona's still there, and I'm still here, even the person behind the persona, if that makes sense. But I've not been able to perform as normal because within maybe 6 months, first there was a funeral and I was really just down in the dumps, so end of 2021. Was it end of 2021? I think it was, but anyway, so when I started making videos, and then in maybe 6 months to 8 months later after that, I started doing trauma-based therapy, which I was in shock initially. I was on a very long waiting list for over a year or two actually, just to get taken seriously, and it turned out I have PTSD and CPTSD. So this is not something I just one day woke up and said, right, I have PTSD. I was told by other people I might have severe CPTSD or PTSD or both or whichever, and I didn't really know much about it, and I looked into it. I thought, well, I never even joined the army. I actually considered joining the army at 16 years old, but had I joined the army or the Air Force or the Territorial Army, I would have cracked. I would have lost it. I would have gone berserk, because I came from a family where, on my French side of the family, they served in the Navy and the Air Force, and they've seen things that, like Foo Fighters, unidentified flying objects, or UAPs, what they call them now, so they've changed the term for that. So I grew up, I was fantasizing, oh, one day I'm going to make a difference for my country, and any country, except it wasn't even in the UK, that it was the French military that my uncle served in. But I thought I could make a difference. I thought I'd get over my phobias if I joined the army. I would have just destroyed my sense of self had I done that. I thought if I did teaching abroad, it would be the stand-in for acne. It would be the stand-in for acting. I thought if I could perform in front of people and teach them, then I would be suitable to be an actor. because, well, it didn't go according to plan anyway. So there was a lot of things I wanted to do. It's like I would push myself to the limit, drinking energy drinks from 16 years old, destroying my adrenals, and give myself chronic fatigue. So self-medicating with caffeine, coffees, since I was probably 12 years old, because school in France started at 8 years old, started at 8 a.m. Excuse all my, I keep making these weird blunders, and they're like really dumb Freudian slips, if they are Freudian slips. It's like saying acne instead of acting. How's that related? So I had to start school at 8 a.m. and finish at 5 p.m, then followed by 2 hours homework. Do you realize how crazy that is? So school was really hard. It's one of the strictest education systems in the world, and then moving to the UK in 2006, they wouldn't let me go back to school in a normal sense. I was banned from just following a normal school system. So some people who might watch my channel, or people that sort of know me, at least online, mostly Americans I've noticed, they have pointed out that from my experiences or things I've said to them, that I seem to be, I don't like the word, but a victim of G-stalking. I'm not going to say the full word. I don't believe, like, it's, I'm like the enemy of the state, you know, that Will Smith movie, or that Denzel Washington movie, like Fallen, where people just get possessed. And, I mean, stuff like that does happen, but it's not like a Hollywood movie. This is real life here. But I've witnessed things which should be impossible, absolutely impossible. And I've had, as far as I'm concerned, because I've never gone into a psychiatric ward. I have a clean bill in terms of mental health. I'm only traumatized. I've never been diagnosed with schizophrenia. My mother tried to get me diagnosed with that and mistook my signs of ASD or autism, high functioning autism, or whatever, as having a very vivid imagination. My hearing abilities was mistaken for schizophrenia and all that stuff. And after befriending and meeting people who have schizophrenia, I do not have schizophrenia. I've probably gone through phases where I know I'm a bit delusional and I'm not living in reality, but that was more due to starving myself. I wish I hadn't said that. So again, this should be like a trigger warning or something. And by starving myself, there were times in my life where I could not afford to eat enough food, and I got screamed at for taking an extra apple from my mother or something. Anyway, nobody was eating the apples, and she said, "Oh, your son needs to eat the apples." But then I got told off for taking a few apples. So anyway, I've been in therapy for maybe about a year, and the year before that, so I keep whacking things, so I'm just fiddling with it. Makeup brush. I was having really severe nightmares, and since the beginning of this year, or even the end of last year, so since December, starting from September, October, November, December last year, and then so end of 2023, and until maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I've been suffering from like weird issues all over my body, like really horrible skin issues where it was agonizing, and I got brain fog, and I couldn't eat anything made out of fungi or mold or anything. So my whole body was just, I think I'm allergic to mold or something, but I realized I was starting to see shadow beings and weird stuff. It's actually common to, I'm now contradicting myself about I've never seen crazy stuff, but how should I put it? But I wasn't the only one who saw this, right? because there's stories that certain noxious gases and black molds or poisoning and stuff like that can lead to hallucinations and seeing things in the corners of your eyes. But I think it's a bit of it's not just the psychological or medical definition of that's disturbing. There's actually an energy to black mold, and the energy to that is there's an energy to it, and some people would say, it's like sort of like a portal and all that. Well, for some odd reason, my perfectly suitable place for filming videos randomly towards the end of last year started. There were mold spores appearing under my kitchen cabinets, all over the windows, and I was having asthma attacks and heart palpitations and stuff like that, and I got really scared, and my throat was closing up and stuff, and I was becoming allergic to everything, because black mold can weirdly, I don't know how it does it, it can suppress your immune system, and it can make you react to everything else, including normal fruits and stuff. So it was messing with my immune system. So I've spent it's now August, end of August, I've spent 8 months using every single product on my skin, things externally and internally, to heal my skin. So there was a point where I couldn't even look in a mirror because I was covered in hives and bumps all over my face, and I thought somebody put black magic on me or something. What the hell? It was just like, is it something I'm eating? And then I thought, okay, fine, I'll cut out more foods, and then I had to cut out even more foods, and it got to the point where there's so little things I can eat now without having a really bad reaction. It's so stupid. Where my immune system still, it attacks my own body for ingesting anything, so it doesn't seem to like dairy anymore, but maybe it's an age thing, I don't know. But even having a teeniest, tiniest, a little piece of cheese, or like, I don't know, it's just so bad, and I've got some really bad allergies. And then the place I'm living in anyway, I don't talk about it, but the place I had, the tenancy ran out, so, and I'm not happy because the place I was supposed to have fell through, so I'm back to square one again. So I don't know if it's like I tick all the boxes for physical medical issues as well as mental medical issues, and yet other people around me get help for far less problems, and I'm dealing with all this red tape and all these rules and these restrictions, and I'm doing everything I can. And some people, like, I remember every single time I've struggled with certain situations, I've had the odd random troll, and usually it's a middle-aged American or Canadian man who says, "Get a job!" Just like, get a job. You can still be homeless with a full-time job, you know. I've known people like who were accountants, you can still be homeless. So, but that's a whole other story for another time, and I don't want to bring that energy. I don't want to talk about it. But that's why I've been gone. I'm sorry to disappoint you, dear audience. It's so bad that I've not been able to make videos. My physical health has been absolutely horrible, and I would end up with hives and ghost pains, like stigmatas, and so I'd end up with like ghost bruises, and like my scalp would feel like somebody had de-scalped me. Sorry again, this is really graphic, because I used to be pulled by the weight of my hair and then my ears as well, and dragged across the floor, and all kinds of really horrible stuff. I'm sorry, look, if it's not like some new age picture perfect something. But so the problem with the trauma therapy is some of it requires me being in a safe enough position, which I'm no longer in. I mean, I am, but I'm not where I'm supposed to be, so I can't even continue doing that properly. So I've been dealing with somatic body experiences where it feels like I've woken up being hit by a truck, or beaten and kicked and punched and stuff like that, and I just wake up and I'm in agony for the whole day after doing therapy, or I just feel really sleepy and miserable. So I'm hoping that after spending quite a long time doing therapy, it's getting closer to nearly a whole year now, I'm hoping that I'll get my mojo back and I'll still be me. I definitely am still me. It's just I feel bad that my videos are really hard to follow. I mean, even this video is already 20 minutes and 45 seconds. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. So I might have like fallen off the bandwagon. So I just want you to know, if you're watching this and if you're wondering if you're behind in life, you're not. There's loads of people that are behind in life. Some people even worse off than me. But my situation apparently is really screwed up. Probably my therapist needs a therapist. That's how bad it is. So I'm dealing with a lot of layers of subconscious bullcrap. I want to swear, but I'm gonna refrain from doing that. But that's why I've not been making videos, because I spent a year grieving someone else's death because I wasn't allowed to grieve my own grandmother's death, and I was shamed for that somewhat. And then afterwards my therapy started, and I've been so wiped out. I've had no energy to even cater to being in a loving relationship and all that. I've had to warn people, like the boyfriend and stuff, like, look, I'm sorry in advance if I can't give much. I'm still me, but I have no energy to do, I don't know, just like it was like time out, I guess. So doing therapy has almost been like a sort of spiritual vow of celibacy, somewhat, but it's more abstract. It's not, I didn't think, right, I'm going to be celibate or anything. No, it's more about just reorganizing the crap in my brain, and then realizing, according to my doctor and my therapist and more recent notes, apparently, not my words, their words, I'm severely, and this is not an insult, this is a fact, this is just a statement, autistic. And I know I'm not crazy enough apparently to be diagnosed with that. And what do these people have the ability of doing? They either have photographic memories, or in my case, I found out there's such a thing as a filmographic memory. So I remember taste, smells, sounds, and everything, and emotions and conversations going back to when I was... It gets blurry around 3 years old, but 3-4 years old, I'm able to remember not being able to read and other things. I remember way too much around me, even though I didn't understand what it meant, as in certain adult conversations or topics and things like that. And looking back from an adult perspective, I really feel for that kid. I really feel for that kid. That poor kid did not deserve any of that, and I'm surprised I'm still alive to this day. I am, and I'm just saying, look, that's the summary of it, okay? I'm still here. I'm not gone. If you have any suggestions for particular topics you want me to talk about, please let me know. I apparently am able to use or make community posts, so maybe I can make a poll thing. So I could talk about, again, I'm scared to even say the word. So again, about 2 years ago, so when I stopped making the videos, not only was I grieving, going back to end of 2021, or what was it, like early 2022, I can't remember at this point. They started introducing more rules, rules where certain words can demonetize your channel. I'm not in that position, but I don't want stuff to be demonetized before I've even reached the mark of being able to do that. That would be nice, you know? So there's a lot of words I've had to compile and think, okay, do I say this in code? Do I say that in code? What can I say? And it started giving me a headache, so to speak, every time I edit certain videos. And if you start seeing weird videos coming in, those videos are old. I will put the dates down of the videos, but they are older, and some of them talk about various topics like CERN, and another one talks about China, I think. But so even saying these two words side by sides, I don't, is that too much, you know? I don't get, I'm not allowed to talk about certain things, and it's very, very, very annoying. So yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, I don't have the energy right now. I can't give any more. I'm pooped, you know. So yeah, that is it. I will try and get back in.
Please like and subscribe to get the algorithm going.
Own a guitar. I don't know. We'll see.